I might just leave this earring open because I, for the life of me, cannot get it to close today. Oh. Hi, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm Lindsay, and this is my September reading wrap-up as it is about to be October. As of filming this, I think uploading it will be October. But I am excited because I haven't done a reading wrap-up, I think, in a year. So a monthly reading wrap-up, that is. Of course, because of that, because I am coming out of not having as much time to read as I have in the past, I am just kind of catching up on my reading. I didn't read as much this month as I have in the past. I finished up a book. I have read one book and had to pause for a second. I started another book on my library app, and I also have another book from the library. I'm really excited for my October reads, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I just want to start with the last book I talked about. I vlogged Half a Soul. It did take me some time to read that, and I finished it up the first week of September. Maybe, yeah, like the first couple days of September. It was very, very early September, but I'm still counting it for September because I haven't really done like a spoiler-free review. I did talk about it in the vlog if you want to go watch that vlog, but it is not spoiler-free. So here's my spoiler-free review. This book is about Dora, not the explorer, but a woman who, when she was a child, was cursed by a fairy who took half her soul, hence the name. She lives with her cousin and her aunt, and her cousin is trying to secure a husband because this is a Regency era fantasy romance so, you know, there's the courting, there's the balls, there's all that. And she hatches a plan, Dora's cousin hatches a plan to go to London, bringing Dora with her. Enter the mysterious Lord Sorcier. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but he can do magic. He's grumpy, he has long blonde hair, he's a bit, he's not as like melodramatic as Howl from Howl's Moving Castle, but he does seem to have that Howl formula. It's a very cute story, nothing too dense, a very easy read. If you're looking for smut, it does not have that, sorry, but the romance is very heartwarming. The world building was good. I don't want to say it was perfect or amazing. It did have more politically than I expected, but it wasn't the most in-depth world building. And it was very rushed at the end. I think the romance was decently paced out, and the characters, it doesn't have a diverse cast of characters, but like it does a little bit, but not really. But it does have little like side stories with the characters, which is nice. Honestly, I think the best word to sum this whole story up is cute. It wasn't a story that I was dissecting and analyzing and that kind of stuff, but it was very cute, heartwarming, like I said. If you're looking for more of an easy, cute, heartwarming read with some fae, I would recommend this book. The next book is Babel, and I want to show you the map because it's been such a long time since I've read a book with a map in it, and I was so pumped to find this map. It is of Oxford, and I was like, immediately, where's the Bodleian Libraries? Because I don't even know if I'm saying that right. They are labeled, and I love that for me, and they're mentioned in the book many times because it's about scholars, but let me get into that. There is a humorous author's note in the beginning about how this is a fictional version of 1930s Oxford. She tried to stay as true to it as possible, but she did take some liberties. But she does, you know, reference her sources and that kind of stuff. I do really like R.F. Kuang's humor in writing. I will say I've never been to Oxford. I do want to go because I think they have some Tolkien and Lewis stuff. I'm not sure if it's at the university, but that being said, I am not qualified to say what is accurate and what is inaccurate. Contrary to popular belief, I was not alive in Victorian era either, so... Anyway, this book is about a Chinese boy from Canton. I don't know where my voice went. It's just, we're gonna let it go, and if it comes back, it comes back. He is taken into custody by an Englishman and turned into an Englishman himself. He is brought over to England. He has to choose a more English name. He goes by Robin Swift, then he dons the clothes, and he has this kind of cultural shift. Then he goes on this journey of learning different languages that leads him to studying in the Translation Institute at the University of Oxford, which is in Babel. The beginning grabbed me. Like, first paragraph I was in, even like before that with the quote at the top of the chapter. There's quotes at the top of every chapter, which I really like when authors do that. I've talked about these books many times. The Shepherd King duology is one of my favorite duologies, possibly my favorite, and it does something, like it has something, a little something something at the beginning of the chapters, which I do like. I think it's a very creative, very interesting stylistic choice. It's a beautifully written book, if I do say so myself. I will say, like, very vaguely, without giving any spoilers, it's a lot about like the British Empire and colonialism and that history, but like putting a fantastical twist on it because it is a historical fantasy, like historical fantasy fiction, I guess is the genre that it would be, but it does still really hammer home the way in which like the Eastern countries were used for the gain of the British Empire. It's a read I definitely recommend in the current political climate. It is sad that there are aspects of it that are still relevant in when this takes place in the 1800s, but just in general, just because like I said, I think it's really well written, I would recommend this book. But I think there are aspects of it that are very interesting to read about in this way. The world building, though it is inspired by actual history, I think it is really rich and well executed. I think stylistically the use of footnotes was really cool because the characters are scholars, but when you are reading a book that has like those footnotes, it's almost as if you are also a scholar studying this topic. Overall, I just greatly enjoyed it. The only criticism I could come up with would possibly be the pacing. I can understand how people might have issues with the pacing, especially in the beginning, but I didn't really mind it because while it might have seemed slow in the beginning, there's a lot of that kind of comes full circle, or it really sets up things that happen later. It helps you understand these characters and where they're coming from later in the story. It's just, there are dots to connect. Like I said, overall, really enjoyed this book. I do understand the hype for it. I do want to read more of R. Kwong. I want to read the Poppy Wars. Catabasis, I am hoping to read more of her books. I love to read a book that has a topic that the author is really passionate about. R.F. Kuang has studied language. I was searching for the word language for a while. R.F. Kuang, it says there's an author's note in the back of the book that talks about all of R.F. Kuang's, what she has studied, and you could tell that this is something that she's really passionate about, and I really like when that kind of bleeds through in a story, when something you're like, oh, this is something the author really loves, or at least really loves to talk about, if that makes sense. But that is the main book that I read in September, because it's not a super long story. It is over 500 pages, so it's not, I would say like that's medium. I don't know what you qualify as, short, long, medium. I qualify probably 500 pages as medium, but it is a little bit more dense than some other books I've read this year. So it wasn't one that I was breezing through, but I think like about a week or two. I don't know, it might have taken me 2 weeks. But now that we're at the end of September, I have started another book, and it is a witchy book. It's called Hex and Hexability. I'm only like a couple chapters in, so I can't say much. So this will be in an October reading wrap up, or maybe just like a video on witchy books. Who knows what's to come in October. But it is a Regency fantasy romance. I think it's more heavy on the romance than the fantasy, but it's a witchy Regency book is how I would put it. It is really giving me Bridgerton with witches as of right now. I'm not that far in, but I'm like picturing the Bridgerton set because it's definitely steamy. I haven't gotten to any smut, but I know it's there. It's gonna be there. They're very much setting it up. But I will give a review of that when I finish it. I also have the X-Hex from the library that I'm going to read. I am very excited for the witchy books I have in October, and I'm very happy with what I read in September. I loved Babel. I knew I would like Babel, but I loved it. There were definitely moments where I was like, because I would read it for like hours. when I had free time. There was times where I was like, I need to go make dinner, but I have to finish this chapter first because it's really getting good right now. So yeah, I definitely recommend Babel. If you're looking for something that has a lot of like rich history, but also a fantasy element, characters, talk about like, definitely has a diverse cast, and I lost my train of thought there, but I really enjoyed the characters, and I just think in general it was a well fleshed out book and a harder read. Not like I said, it's more dense than other reads, but it's not really like that difficult. It's difficult in the sense that there are difficult topics, but important for people to read about and to know about and understand. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I just kind of fully just went blank for a second, and I think this is a shorter video because it is not, like I said, not as many books as I've had in previous reading wrap-ups, and in my last couple of videos I had more to talk about, but I am happy with what I read recently and I can't wait to read more. I've already said that, so stay tuned because I do have some fun October video planned. I have some fun videos planned for October, very on theme for October. I love October, I love Halloween. I'm so excited for October, you have no idea. And I also will have an October reading wrap up, and I just think the rest of the year, the books I'm going to be reading and the videos I have planned, I'm just very excited for. So definitely subscribe for that, and I will see you next week. Bye!